Please allow me to introduce our speakers. Born in India in 1952, Andrew Harvey is an internationally acclaimed teacher and writer. He has spent his life on a spiritual journey, seeking and teaching without pause. With 30 books to his name, Andrew has traveled the world, interviewing great spiritual leaders, studying a variety of mystical traditions, and translating the work of inspiring mystics. He is now a longtime resident of the United States. While his accomplishments are too numerous for this brief introduction, it is perhaps more important to reflect on the words said about Harvey. Time magazine has called Andrew one of the world's irreplaceable resources. Marianne Williamson said, "The light he sheds is like a meteor burst across the inner sky." And Gloria Vanderbilt has referred to him as an enlightened spirit. Harvey believes the culmination of his life's work is encompassed in the concept of sacred activism, a term he coined and which will be fleshed out throughout these recordings. Sacred activism refers to the force we each carry when, as he says, our deepest and most grounded spiritual vision is married to a practical and pragmatic drive to transform all existing political, economic, and social institutions. Andrew Harvey is also the founder and director of the Institute of Sacred Activism and is available for spiritual direction consultations. Joining Harvey in the studio for these recorded conversations is Chris Saade, a dear friend of Harvey's and the co-director of the Olive Branch Center along with myself. Saade teaches leadership from the heart at the Institute for Life Leadership and Coaching, a nonprofit he founded 17 years ago. Saade is a fellow mystic journeyer and teacher, and like Harvey, brings a global perspective, having both lived and studied internationally. Born in Lebanon in 1950, Saade resided in France as a young adult and now, as a U.S. citizen, calls the United States home. After serving as a leader of a Christian peace movement in Lebanon, Saade went on to pursue graduate studies in theology, history, and existential psychology. He earned a master's degree in human development and counseling and worked professionally as a private psychotherapist and psychological and spiritual coach for over 2 decades.
Before we get started, I want to share with you a couple of remarks that are important for this whole exploration of the vision of evolutionary relationships. First, I want to tell you that I am so excited that we have Andrew with us here and that I'm partnering with Andrew in presenting this course. Andrew is a very, very, very dear friend of my heart. He is an amazing soul and an amazing spirit, and he is a man that has dedicated his life to travel all over the world, from Australia to France to England to North America to Africa, to spread the message of sacred activism, to speak to people about awakening to love in action, and to getting engaged in issues of transformative quest for social justice and ecological sustainability, and to come toward that work from the heart and from a place of deep spirituality. It is going to be a treat and a privilege to have Andrew Harvey with us in this exploration. Now, I want to also tell you that it is very, very important as we explore together all the steps of this vision of evolutionary relationships, that we remember that the ideas in these CDs are not expectations against which we judge our current relationships. That is very important. We don't want to come and have them like a list and say, oh my God, are we doing this? Are we not doing that? And so on. These are like a guiding star of evolution that we are all tending toward, that we want to move toward. So every little step that you can do in your relationship to move forward toward that star will bring you a lot of blessings, will enrich your relationship, will empower it, and make it more fulfilling. So do not judge the current relationship by these ideas, but let these ideas be, again, like I said, a star, a guiding star to help you grow in your relationship and let your relationship grow toward that. Now, as a way to close these remarks, I want to share with you something that Saint-Exupéry taught. Saint-Exupéry was very famous for his book, Little Prince, that many of you have read or read to your children. It's a wonderful book. And Saint-Exupéry believed that a relationship is not about gazing at each other. A relationship is about looking together toward the great vision that pulls us forward. And his words were really prophetic. I mean, he said them at a time where we were not yet fully grasping the meaning and the richness of what it means to have a relationship that is oriented toward the world and joined and united and energized and catalyzed by a common vision of service, of love for the world. So Andrew and I are very excited to start with you now in the exploration of this vision of evolutionary relationships and going step by step with you into looking at the spiritual and psychological principles of an evolutionary, energized, and inspired relationship.
Welcome to CD 1. This section is entitled An Evolutionary Vision of Relationships.
Hello, I'm Chris Saade, and I'm very happy and excited to be with my very good friend Andrew Harvey, a teacher that I admire and I love so much. And I'm excited to be with you here to discuss this new vision of relationship, a new vision that is arising out of the evolution of our species and out of the dire needs of our planet at this moment where civilization is being challenged at its roots. This new vision of relationship is one that is based on the idea that partners are to be united by a vision of loving service. So partners find their energy of love not by retreating into each other, which has been the old paradigm and has led us to a catastrophe in relationship building. I mean, statistics are horrifying, where we know that 50 to 55% of marriages end in divorce, and the rest of that 50%, most of them end up in a dead relationship. Relationships cannot be enclosed into themselves. The new evolutionary vision is a vision of relationship where partners find their energy of love by being engaged in service of the world, engaged together in a vision of justice building, peace building, solidarity, and compassion. So we are going, Andrew and myself, to explore more this new, very hopeful and very rich and very powerful new vision of relationship. Before that, I would like to explore with you 5 principles of the idea of love itself. That is the basis of relationships. And I know Andrew is going to cover 7 requirements that love puts on us and demands from us. So let me start by saying this. The first principle is that love is an evolutionary soul force. It is the most powerful force of evolution that we know in our species and in the universe. And love itself is evolving. The idea of love is evolving in our consciousness. Love is becoming more and more of a central philosophy that defines the fullness of our life. It is becoming, in our understanding, more and more something that colors all our life. It is not something on the side. It's something that helps us understand how we work, understand how we relate to others in society, and of course, propels us in our relationship with our loved one and our children. But also, we are coming to understand that love is how we relate to the world in its struggle, in a struggle to survive dire poverty, in a struggle to survive ecological problems, in a struggle to survive forces that are fighting against democracy, and to be able to have a world that really works and that can offer us a sense of solidarity. So that's the first principle. The second principle is that love is one and indivisible. You know, a lot of people say, I want to take time to focus on my relationship. I want to build my relationship. I want to make that a priority. And then one day, when that is taken care of, I will look at serving the world. Well, unfortunately, that does not work, because what helps a relationship thrive, what gets two people together to be in love, to be connected with each other, and to sustain love, is the force of love itself. And love is indivisible. Love is an outpouring from the divine heart into our own hearts. And love is love for all. It is the same love that we have for our partner, for our cats, for our dogs, for the animals in the world, for the poor in the world, for those who are struggling because they're excluded because of race or because of socioeconomic conditions. It's the same love. Love cannot be divided and cut into pieces. So we cannot say we're going to just focus on our relationship, because what helps a relationship survive is the amount and the intensity of love that is there available for the partners. And that love is one and indivisible. We love our partners to the degree that we love the world. We can relate passionately to our partners to the degree that we are passionate about the pursuit of justice, peace, and solidarity to the world. Third principle, where we resource ourselves in love and find the ability to be able to stay passionately in love with our partner, is our service to the world. Because by serving the world, not only do we give, but we receive at least tenfolds of what we give in energy. There is nothing that gives us more. There is nothing that has given me more in life, as much as when I was able to reach out to somebody who was struggling and to offer them support or solace. What comes back is amazing. Those who are involved in humanitarian work, those who are involved in work for political justice, for example, know that it is their source of energy. So the source of energy for a couple is service. That's what gives them energy that they can then come back and bring to the relationship. The fourth principle, love comes from the divine, and Andrew is going to give us a lot on this topic. Love comes from the divine. Love comes from the divine heart. But the divine is relational. The divine is relational by nature. The divine is love in relationship with itself, with the world, with the cosmos, with this expanding universe, with every sentient being. And we are relational beings. We cannot not be relational. This is who we are in our nature. And to be relational is to be engaged. Because when our children, for example, are sick, it is a no-brainer. What we do is we go and relate to them in their sickness and support them, because that's who we are. But we are relational with the whole planet. This is who we are. We were created as relational beings to relate in love to the whole of the planet. All the children of the planet are our children. We are in relationship with them. We cannot individually solve all the problems of the world, but we can individually, and especially as a couple, stay in relationship with the struggle, the evolution, and the hope of the world, and therefore be in harmony with our authentic relational nature. And the fifth principle is that it is the nature of love to flower into passion. And Andrew and I will have a whole CD of this series on passion itself. Passion is not something on the side that we visit every now and then. Passion is the natural fulfillment of love. Love was created to expand and explode in passion. And therefore, to have a loving relationship with our beloved, man or woman, it is to seek and to work so that love can fully expand itself into passion. And what is fascinating is by our pursuing passion, we then have to confront all that keeps our heart locked in and personalized. Because we will talk more about it. The greatest threat to a relationship is when a relationship is personalized. When we think that a relationship is just between you and I as two persons and is private and personal. Passion comes from a heart that is open, from the heart that wants to be as big as it can, from a heart that realizes that it contains the whole world in it. And by seeking passion, by allowing our love to flourish into passion, we realize that we can only do that by coming out of our personalized prison, our privatized prison, and opening ourselves in service to the world, to the planet, to the divine as the world and as the planet, as the great lover of the world and the planets.
I love what Chris has been saying, because what Chris has been formulating, I believe, are the 5 real principles of a new vision of evolutionary love that is now appearing on the planet at the very moment when the planet is in extreme danger. And what this vision is offering humanity is a vision of coupledom, of relationship, as being not a privatized escape from reality, but as being the source of the fuel from which two beings united in a common purpose can go out and become sacred activists and truly dedicate their inner and outer resources to helping the world, so that they can enjoy the fullness of divine human love, enjoy it in the depths of their own personal relationship, but also enjoy it in the ways that those healing depths make them powerful and strong and lucid and vibrant enough to go out into the world and pour their gifts out for the transformation of the planet. What the mother, I believe, is bringing in is a vision of total relationship, a vision of total relating between heart, mind, body, and soul, so that through that deep sacred relationship, people can come into the unified force field of reality, become completely embodied and present, and use that inner love to express the public love that they have, the longing to see the world transformed by justice and the creation protected. What is really at stake is this. If we continue to have a vision of relationship as purely personal, purely private, something that we cultivate just for our own pleasure, we will keep going the tragic narcissism that is now ravaging the planet on every level. And the real thrust and purpose and meaning and divine importance of relationship, which is to give us the fuel to take on the world, give us the passion to embrace the causes of justice, give us the energy to go on, going on, pouring ourselves out for the transformation of the planet, the real force of that very unnarcissistic, holy, vibrant, sacred vision will be lost, and humanity will ensure its own destruction. Both recognize in each other the unique face that God is turning to them in time to bring them the essence of the divine truth, which is embodied love. And in that recognition of the other as the beloved is a natural movement of passionate service of the other's life, so as to give them the freedom and the energy and the joy that they will need to go out into the world and fulfill their destiny. This is crucial because in the past there has been a vision of inequality of power. The male has often had the power and the feminine hasn't. Now what's coming is the mutual recognition of holiness and sacredness expressed in tantric rapture, in an adoration and worship of the other in the core of life. The fourth requirement follows on from the third. If you are going to have a beloved relationship, you are going to have to center your whole being and whole work and whole evolving in God. You are going to have to be a master of your own solitude so that you can work on what is necessary to deepen that sacred relationship with the divine. But you're also going to need to bring sacred practice, prayer, into the very core of your life so that the whole relationship can be enfolded in a mutually shared sacred enterprise.
For more information about Andrew Harvey, please visit his website at andrewharvey.net. For more information about Chris Saade or the Olive Branch Center, please visit our website at theolivebranchcenter.net. Thank you for joining us for these very inspiring and transformative conversations. We are happy to have you with us.